What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Guys, the Colts don't trade back. They stay put at pick number 45, and they do take an edge. They took JT Tuimoloau from The Ohio State University, one of the top edge rushers in this draft cycle. Cody, it was definitely not a name that a lot of people had going to the Indianapolis Colts. Ezeruku and Nick Scorton and Mike Green and a lot of these other edges that were available around that time was a bigger name for a lot of people. But they went with JT Tuimoloau, somebody who has a high motor, a very big leader of that Ohio State defense, which was so elite last year. A guy that has had a lot of great success in Ohio State. And I will say this, had one of the most dominant defensive performances I have ever seen from a defensive end. Go watch the 2023 game against Penn State and come back and tell me that this guy is not a good football player. I promise you, you will change your mind. What is your reaction to JT Tuimoloau here to Indy in the second round?
Like I said to you on stream, Derek, yeah, people look at it and they'll say, oh, Mike Green's there, Nick Scorton's there. But Derek, we've said it 100 times by now. It's all different for different teams. Different teams have different players up on their board. It's not just about the numbers all the time, even though the numbers are pretty good here for JT. There's a lot of things that go into that. The work ethic, the things that he does, the leadership that he possesses, and just all that stuff, level of competition. I mean, Ohio State's playing everybody, and he's being productive, in the Big Ten and productive against some of the elite type of teams. So with that being said, I'm a pretty big fan of this pick, to be honest with you, because you look at his stats overall, Derek. I mean, breakout year for him, 12 and a half sacks with the Buckeyes last year, 22 tackles for loss.
Yeah.
And, just a guy that I felt like was a relentless guy, was consistent all the time. And, yeah, the sack numbers aren't, like an Ezeruku, they weren't 16 and a half, but that's pretty good, especially considering the level of competition you're playing.
Yes.
Game in and game out on a week-to-week basis.
And the game planning that went into him as well.
So. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, you can't argue with that, and I think that's definitely a need for the Indianapolis Colts. We talked about it. It's a sneaky need for them because, maybe he may not be a starter this year. I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, you have Kwity Paye, you have Samson Ebukam, you have Laiatu Latu.
Yes.
But beyond Laiatu Latu, you don't have any other edge outside of now him on your roster, at least from a contract standpoint. So, with that being said, you absolutely needed to address the future at edge. It was no doubt a concern and no doubt a question mark there for them. So, yeah, I'm totally good with this. I think he's a really, really good player. I really do.
Yes.
And, like I said, it's all different for different teams. Like, we can look at the prospects, look at all this kind of stuff, but there's a lot more than just pure numbers that go into a pick like this. There's a lot of things, a lot of factors. So, love it or hate it, I think it's a pretty good pick, honestly.
One of those factors being, I think it's also a character thing. Shout out to Landon Oliver that posted this. You're talking about a couple of Big Ten players that Chris Ballard has drafted where they are building a new culture within this locker room. You're talking about bringing in these young guys that are really just guys that are leaders of young men. These are guys that have been captains of their teams and guys that not only put numbers up, but have shown that physical prowess, the toughness, and the mental wherewithal to come in and know what they're getting themselves into when they get here. And you're right. The future of the edge position is unknown. You don't know if you're going to keep Kwity Paye around after this year. Samson Ebukam, he's going to need a new contract. And Tyquan Lewis, I mean, we know what his ceiling is, so there's not going to be super high demand for him. So you don't have anyone outside of Laiatu Latu to look for the future for.
Yeah.
But you think if JT Tuimoloau can do exactly what a Kwity Paye has done, which is be a great run defender, which JT Tuimoloau is. and also be a guy that can get you 8 sacks a year, Cody, that's exactly what you're hoping for to be able to replace that going forward. Again, it is not the biggest of names that people brought or were expecting for the Indianapolis Colts. I understand that. I am even shocked at the selection because I thought that JT might potentially go back a little bit further than what he did.
Well, here's my deal also, Derek. I look at from the Tennessee game on, including the playoff games.
Yes.
He had a sack or more in every single one of those games. He was disruptive in every single one of those games. On the biggest moments, he was making those plays.
Yep.
He was getting to the quarterback. That's what matters.
And like I said, in that Penn State game, when they were in Happy Valley in front of 110,000 fans, and there were people that were saying that Penn State was going to upset Ohio State and that was a game, Cody, that was going back and forth. JT Tuimoloau put that team on his back. He had, I'm pretty sure, had 3 turnovers in that game, forced 3 turnovers. He had 1 forced fumble that ended up in a recovery for Ohio State, had 2 interceptions. One of them went for a touchdown, and had 2 sacks in that game and 3 tackles for a loss.
Wow.
And 2 pass deflections. It was one of the most complete games you will ever see from an edge rusher. So this guy does have times where I think they're from the overall, I think the best thing that I heard from somebody was, we don't know what his ceiling is going to be, but he has one of the highest floors of any of the edge guys in this class, so starting out, he's starting up here versus everyone else kind of down here. And then we'll have to see how that compounds. But JT is definitely going to walk into a good situation here.
Yeah, no doubt. And like we said, the Colts definitely had a need here at edge, and a lot of people seem to really like this pick for the Indianapolis Colts here. So what do you guys think? Let us know those things in the comments down below. Colts go edge rusher once again here in the second round, get their second Ohio State Buckeye defensive end in the second round under Chris Ballard here, but only about, however many years later, 7 years later. But still, they get a guy here, and I think, Derek, the difference you see with him versus maybe some of these other second-round picks is some more of the production in the big-time moments. You see a little bit more of that. It's not just about the traits. It's about the leadership. It's about, obviously, the production as well, and just some of those things as well. So, I think overall he's a really good player. He, like you said, he showed flashes of dominance, at the college football at the highest level, frankly. In the first 2 playoff games alone, he had 4 sacks in the first 2 games combined. So, talk about a guy that's off the edge that can definitely provide some juice there. And Derek, he's only 21 years old. So he's still got I think he's got some more he can get to, another level he can get to. And obviously this is a type of defensive end that Lou Anarumo covets and loves. So, definitely a great fit here. A shout out to our guy, Alex from Hail Mary Sports. I asked him about, a defensive end around this area. He threw out this name. So multiple times, I'll add. So shout out to Alex for that one. So he was the first one on this. And so Colts go address a need here that we definitely knew was a need at some point, but didn't know
if we would take him that early.
Wasn't sure if it was going to be a second round pick, but still, I think he has the upside, Derek, to be a pretty darn good starter in this league.
Now, folks, I'm going to do this because I think it's going to be funny. I want to try to get this man to try and guess.
No.
And say, help me out here. I'll say it for you first. Okay. I want you to try to repeat it back to me. Tuimoloau.
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 There you go. It's close. It's close.
All right.
It's close. We're getting there. I'm going to get him here. I'm going to get him there.
This is kind of a running joke at this point because literally I feel like Ballard every year drafts at least 1 or 2 guys that I cannot pronounce. You sometimes can't pronounce. Like, how many times?
But I am able to do it because I hear Gus Johnson say it for the last 3 years.
Exactly.
I know how it goes. So.
Yeah, but there's a lot of different guys that even last year, Matt Goncalves. We thought Matt Goncalves for a while.
Yeah, Goncalves.
And, obviously, like Ben Banogu, we thought Van Ogu. I don't know, keep going on and on. Like, you could just keep talking about different players here. But, yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts here on the newest Indianapolis Colt here in round number 2. Colts get their edge guy. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Be sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and let us know your thoughts. that'll do it for this one, guys. Colts have another pick here coming up in the third round, so stay tuned. All right, that'll do it for this one, guys. Thanks so much, and as always, go Colts.